At the moment.
Morning, Linda.
Morning.
Morning, Linda.
Morning.
Right, it's now.
Wait, just trying to get my book.
Yeah, we're now live streaming. Hello, Linda. You're becoming a regular. That's not a complaint, but
It's lovely.
no, it's
Well, as I say, I can't do it when it's real life.
yeah. I know. We're fine. It's yeah. Obviously, it's sort of different with the journey, and obviously you'll be with us for quite a bit of the High Holy Days.
Yep, definitely. I want to ask you something, Kevin.
Oh, yeah.
You know when you share your screen
Yes.
and you can still see yourself in the corner.
Yes.
How do you do that? Because whenever I share my screen, I only get the screen that I'm sharing. And
Yes, sure. Okay, I can answer that. It's you can move with your. It's a shit. I always wish I was with the person, so I'm just going to have to demonstrate. You can move. You can move the. It's like the cursor. You know the thing at the
Hello,
side.
Mika. Can you say hello?
yeah.
Hi, Mika. Hi,
Good
Juliet.
morning.
Oh, lovely. She's lovely. Yeah, there's a thing that at the side that it could. What you could the screen. You could reduce the size of the screen. Yep. So if you put your mouse up until where the screen is and just move it across to reduce the size, the smaller the screen is, the more you'll see of the congregation. So you can sort of like decide what you want to see. I think it's always nice to see the congregation as well as following what's going on. But you'll still be, the congregation will always be smaller than when you're not screen sharing, which is why we only do it for certain parts.
Yeah. But what when I like when you do it, your little picture of the person who is reading, the rabbi or whoever is reading at the time, you can still see them in the corner. But
you can.
But I can't do it when I do it.
I don't know, but as I say, you can reduce the size of what I'm sharing, or you can increase the size of your Zoom link as opposed to share. It's like having two screens, and it's playing about which you want to see more of. I believe this. Again, it's just what you. It's like you drag something from your mouse. That's what I do. Like at the moment, I'm making you smaller by dragging you along. If you can have a go, and now I've got you on full screen, but you can't see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You drag from the corner. Hello.
Hello, and hello to Linda.
Yes.
And whoever else is there. I just tuned in.
We've got a surprise guest who's going to be in one part of the. It's not going to be Adrian.
Can you remind me who's taking the service this morning?
I don't know. Ask Joseph. No, it's Joseph.
Oh, Joseph. Okay.
Okay. I think I just was thinking some of the year we're going to give the rabbis. The rabbis are very busy for some reason at the moment, so that's why we're relying on the choristers. I can't think what they're doing, but.
Morning, everybody.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, Hannah. If that was Hannah, yes. Good morning.
No, well, we've always got enough for a council meeting here.
And R&P while we're at it.
Oh, but yes. Janet, can you take the notes, please? Yeah.
Did you have a nice holiday, Kevin?
It was a lovely break. We're in Swanage. We had really nice weather, and it was just good to get away. To be honest, yeah, we haven't been the holiday we've had this year. We normally like a couple of.
I think we all need breaks, actually.
Yeah, so it was a weekend, but it was fun. It was wonderful. It really was. So.
Who looked after Mum while you were away?
Oh, we had carers. Yeah, we had to kind of accommodate. We just had to up the care. Olivia's brother's with us, so he can do some of it.
Oh, I
so
see.
We just got more sort of someone to put her to bed, and just had to. That's the thing. Even because we can't put her in the care home, which we used to do when we went away. It's the last place you want to put anybody in this. You really have to. So we just upped the carers. It's tough for people in care homes. It really is. That's one of the things. I mean, that's possibly the worst thing that's come out of this.
Right.
Yeah, and as from next week, we're only allowed 6 of us in the room as well. There's new legislation that 6 people in for one service, even if it's virtual.
Right. So we're gathering round at your place, are we?
Yeah. Joseph, can I? You know that song which I really like, and I join in and possibly spoil it. The Door for Door. Are you going to do that, Joseph?
He's muted at the moment, I think, isn't he?
Sorry, I didn't catch that, Kevin.
Yeah. You know that the Door for Door thing you do, and I kind of accompany you and perhaps ruin it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would someone, perhaps Stephen, he's got a voice too. Stephen, would you like, when Joseph goes to Door for Door, would you like to unmute yourself and then kind of just sort of back him as an echo?
I can try, Kevin.
You could do better than me. That's the way for me.
I think Hepzibah.
Hello, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, Lindsay.
I think Hepzibah, you offered to sing something last time after I asked. Maybe it was Levantis Guru. Do you want to do that?
Hepzibah, please do.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Don't be nervous. We don't. I've got some rotten fruit to throw in your direction if it's no good. Okay, so that's Hepsi for the Mantis Guru. Stephen accompanying the Door for Door. Any more requests?
Well, Mike, I might ask Daniel to blow the shofar again if he's with us.
Oh, gosh.
Are you there, Daniel? Well, he's not.
Well,
now,
he's
doing something else, but he hopefully will. I've got a recording, but if Daniel's there, then we'll do that.
On the recordings.
Hello, Vivian.
It's lovely. We've got Vivian's debut on the Zoom service.
I think Adrian's with her, setting her up.
Yeah. Adrian's learned a lot from Vivian.
Hi, Vivian.
Hi, Vivian. How lovely to see you. Shabbat Shalom.
Hello, Vivian.
Shalom.
Now you know what I get up to on a Saturday morning with my other woman.
I bet you Vivian's taught you a few tricks, Adrian.
Too much information, Adrian.
I keep getting Lindsay to do, but never mind.
Okay, so what I suggest now is I'm going to put it on mute again.
Hello, Vivian.
She's muted right now.
Yes, hang on, off mute now. Vivian, you come and sit here.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, you want to? I'll move this over for you.
Okay. Well, wait till Vivian's settled. I think we're nearly ready to start. We feel free to schmooze because you'll all be muted for a while.
So I'm sitting.
Okay. So you sit there with that. Now you're unmuted, so they can hear whatever you say.
To watch your language, Vivian. Yeah.
In that case, I'll make sure I don't say anything.
So no swearing.
Yeah.
No, I don't do that very much. Just an occasional bloody hell.
What did she say?
Bloody, I thought it was. We don't use words like that here, but.
Yes, I know. I wish you would have let me.
It doesn't matter. Okay. I forgot it was even Saturday 10 to 11. I forgot about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Right. I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody.
Thank you.
I'm going home now.
Okay. I might see
and
you
I
later.
hope to see you before the end of the service. Yeah, by the time I get home, you might see me before the end of the service.
Okay. For Kiddush. You just want to get home for Kiddush, don't you?
Thank you so much for all your.
Okay.
And thank Lindsay for the apple.
Yeah, I will do.
The loan of the man.
And your husband.
Yeah, that's a special one. Actually, I can't come unless.
No. You stay there now. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Any problems, you ring me.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Adrian, thank you so much.
Thank you. Adrian.
I put it there.
It's
Okay.
here, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Adrian.
You're most welcome. And thanks, Lindsay.
Adrian, tell Vivian we can't see her.
Can you see me now?
No.
No.
We just saw a flash of you.
Believe me, it's not worth seeing.
Okay, there we
Oh,
are.
Can you see me now?
Now we see
Yes.
you. Now we see
Yes.
you.
We can see you. So, are we,
It's
Joseph?
better otherwise.
Okay, so are we beginning?
Yeah, are you
beginning?
ready? Everyone ready? Are we all
Yeah.
settled? Are we all sitting
So,
comfortably? Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to just
I'm
mute
glad that on my computer it gives me your names.
Yep. Yep. So you know who we all are. I'm going to mute
Just
everybody.
in case I forgot who you are.
Yeah.
Our name should be at the bottom of each picture. Can you
Your
see all of
Mosaic,
us?
Lindsay, you may want to change your name. Your Mosaic Liberal. It's up to you. You might want to be Mosaic Liberal. I'm going to mute everyone now, and Joseph, obviously, you know what to do. And when you do your mitzvahs, obviously remember to unmute yourself once you've done your bits. Here goes.
Okay, so hi.
Mute me as well.
Mute yourself as well, Kevin.
Yeah,
We've got your background music. So hi, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Lovely to see you all. Lovely to be back with you. And welcome to Vivian, who's joining us for the first time on Zoom. Vivian is that right? Honorary Vice President, is that right? I just heard that she's coming up to a very significant birthday, her 90th birthday on Monday. So that's a wonderful achievement. So we wish you happy birthday. That's fantastic to have you here with us. So when I take services, I try and involve lots of people. So I will at many points ask for readers. So please raise your hand or wave, or if you'd like to read, and I'll try and involve as many people as possible. If you'd like to sing things as well, that's also an option. I'm happy for that to happen. Hepzibah's going to do Lamantis Garif. If there's something else somebody would like to sing, please let me know. You can either post it in the chat or you can just wave, and somebody will work it out. Try and involve everybody. So we are going to do Shabbat morning service 4, which is on page 122. 122. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu alecha Yaakov, mishknotecha Yisrael, mishknotecha Yisrael, ma'ani barov chazdecha, avovetecha, eshtachave, eshtachave, el heichal kodshecha, be'yiratecha, el heichal kodshecha, be'yiratecha. Adonai, ahavti me'on beitecha, u'makom mishkan kavodecha, va'ani eshtachave ve'ekra, evra livnei Adonai osi. Vani tafilati lacha Adonai et ratzon Elohim barov chazdecha aneni be'emet yisheha. Could we have a volunteer to read the passage at the foot of page 122? Yeah, Hannah was offered to do that, so please unmute yourself.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, you've done it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Eternal God, we come before you surrounded by members of our community. With them we share our happiness and it becomes greater, our troubles and they become smaller. May we never be too mean to give, nor too proud to receive, for in giving and receiving we discover you and begin to understand the meaning of life. Let us not separate ourselves from the true strength of our community, the experience and wisdom of old people, the hopes of the young, and the examples of care and courage which sustain us. Give us an open mind and a generous heart to welcome those who need us and to admit your presence into our daily life. We praise you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe, for the strength that comes to us through our community.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Thank you. You might want to turn your camera back on once you've muted. There we are. We can see you again. I'll just read these few lines and then ask for another volunteer. לעולם יהא אדם ירא שמיים בסתר ובגלוי, ומודה על האמת ודובר אמת בלבבו. Can I have another volunteer to read the foot of 1, 2, 3, please? Yeah, Paul?
Okay. Sovereign of all worlds, we lay our supplications before you, relying not on our merit, but on your abundant mercy. For what are we? What is our life, and what our piety? What our goodness, and what our strength? What can we say in your presence, eternal God? Are not the mightiest of us as nothing before you, the famous as though they had never lived, the learned as if they had no knowledge, the wise as if without understanding? For most of what we do is futile, and our life on earth is but a span. Our superiority over other animals amounts to little, for all is vanity. Nevertheless, we are your people, children of your covenant, and called to your service. Therefore, it is right that we should thank and praise you, to proclaim your holiness, and daily say before you,
אשרנו, 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 מה טוב חלקנו, אשרנו, 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 מה טוב חלקנו. אשרנו, 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 מה טוב חלקנו, אשרנו, 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 מה טוב חלקנו. 오마나임 오마나임 거랄레노 오마나임 아나임 거랄레노 오마나임 오마나임 거랄레노 오마나임 아나임 거랄레노 오마 야파 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 야루샤테누 오마 야파 야파 야루샤테누 오마나임 오마나임 거랄레누 오마나임 아나임 거랄레누 Baruch Shema V'Haya Ha'olam Baruch Hu Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Hamuhalal B'fi Amo Meshubah Mfuah B'shon Chazidah V'Yavadav B'shvachot U'V'zimrot L'Kelechecha V'Nam Nichecha Malkeinu Yakid Ha'olamim Baruch Atah Adonai Melech Mechulal Batishbachot. And we have one more reader to read the poem at the top of page 125. Yeah, I think Alison jumped in, so I'm going to let you unmute yourself and do that.
At dawn and dusk I seek you, reach out and look to you. With soul athirst, I yearn for you. I am a beggar at your door. The gallant galaxies cannot contain you, yet you dwell in my innermost being. I hold your glory to my heart. My love for you exceeds my speech. So I will praise your name, Eternal One, as long as your breath of life remains within me.
Thank you, Alison. We're in the middle of 125. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ve'Amen. Baruch Adonai Elohim, Elohei Israel, Oseh niflot levado. Baruch Shem kvodo leolam, V'yimaleh kvodo et kol haaretz. Amen ve'Amen. נשמת כל חי, תברך את שמך. אדוני אלוהינו, ורוח כל בשר, תפאר ותרומם, זכרך מלכנו תמיד, מן העולם. ועד העולם אתה אלוהי הראשונים והאחרונים, אלוה כל בריות, אדון כל תולדות, המהולל ברוב התשבחות, המנהג עולמו בחסד ובריותיו ברחמים, לך לבדו אנחנו מודים. And perhaps somebody can read the second paragraph from 126 onwards, yet though our mouths should overflow, as song as the sea. Yeah, George, unmute yourself and read it.
Yet though our mouths should overflow with song as the sea, our tongues with exaltation as the roaring waves, and our lips with praise as heaven's wide expanse. And though our eyes shine as the sun and moon, our arms spread forth like the wings of eagles, and our feet speed swiftly as hinds, still we could not fully thank you, eternal God, for your infinite kindness to our ancestors and to us.
Keep going.
Wherefore, the limbs you have formed in us, the spirit you have breathed into us, and the tongue you have set in our mouth, all shall unite to thank and praise, extol you and exalt you, the sovereign God. Every mouth shall thank you, every tongue bear witness to you, every knee shall bend to you, every body bow down to you, every heart shall revere you, and every fiber of our being shall sing your praise.
Why don't you finish it off?
For so it is written, all my bones shall say, who is like you, Eternal One? Therefore we extol you and proclaim your glory and praise your holy name, as it is said, praise the Eternal One, O my soul. Let all that is within me praise God's holy name.
Adonai malach, geut lavish Adonai, os hitzazah, avtikon tevel baltimot, nachon kisecha meyaz, me'olam ata, nasau nacharot kol Adonai, nasau nacharot kolam, יישאו נחרות דחיין, מכלות מים רבים, עדי משברי ים, עדי במרום אדוני, עדותיך נאמנו מאוד, עדותיך נאמנו מאוד, לביתך נבא הקודש,
Adonai leorech yamim, Adonai leorech yamim. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש, בשמיים ובארץ, כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו, ואלוהי אבותינו, שיר ושבחה, הלל וזמרה, ברכות והודאות, מעתה ועד עולם, ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוכה בשירי זמרה. And we continue with the Baruch Hu on page 135. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamavorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam vaed. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam vaed. We're now on page 136. So can I have another reader to read the top of page 136, please? As ever, whichever language you like. Linda, please, unmute yourself.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzeh or uvarech choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol, ame'er la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim, u'v'tuvo machadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulom b'chokhma asita, malach ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha va'al ma'orei or she'asita, yafa'aruch ha'sela, baruch atah Adonai, yotzeh hamvorot.
Avarava ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu Emla gadol avitecha Hamalta leinu Avinu malkeinu Avu avoteinu Shevatachu v'cha Shevatachu v'cha Tamdem hukei chayim, ken techanenu, utalmideinu, b'tahen bilbeinu, havin ul haskil, lishmoa lilmod, ulamed lishmo la'asot, ukayem et kol divrei Toratecha be'achava. B'charnenu v'toratecha, v'tabek libeinu v'mitzvotecha, ve'yachel levavenu, le'achava u'lirat shemecha. Kivanu v'chata li'adecha be'achava, baruch atah Adonai, Abraham be'amo Yisrael be'achava. And we come to the Shema in the middle of 137, and I invite you to close your eyes if you'd like to, and we'll say this nice and slowly. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. And the foot of 137. Va'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol modecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi matzavcha היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך. וכשאתה מלאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובשעריך. Hepzibah.
למה תשכרו, עשיתם את כל מצוותיי, ליתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohim.
Thank you, Hepzibah. That was lovely. Thank you. Somebody else perhaps could read Good and Beautiful and True? Is that Alan? Yeah? Go for it. We are awaiting Alan with bated breath. It's going to be worth it. Definitely. There we are. Thank you, Janet.
All right. Sorry about that.
Calling the cavalry.
Good and beautiful and true, sound, established and enduring are these words, now and forever. True it is, Eternal One, that you are our sovereign God and Redeemer, as you were the God and Redeemer of our ancestors. You are our Maker, the rock of our salvation. We have known you always as our helper and our liberator. There is no God but you. Truly you are first and you are last. We have no Redeemer but you. You redeemed us from Egypt and freed us from the house of bondage. Then with great joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel together sang to you this song.
Thank you, Alan. And I'll do the tune, which I don't do very often because it's the Rosh Hashanah tune, but as we're coming up to it, I think it would be appropriate. So. מי כמוך באלם אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, לא תהילות בספר, שירה חדשה, שבחו גאולים, בשמך אספת חיים, יחד כולם, הודו והמליכו, ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. זו ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, לא עלינו אדוני, צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל, גאל ישראל, ישראל. We come to the Amidah on page 140. I'm doing my best to sing through pretty much all of this because I think it's nice to do so. If you'd like to stand, feel free to do so. That is the tradition, but it's difficult on Zoom. I won't because it will lose the microphone and the keyboard and everything. So the Amidah, the Tefillah, the Shemona Esrei, the 18 blessings, on page 140. Yananai nai 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 Adonai. Yananai nai 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 sifatai tiftach. Yananai nai 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 ufi yagid. Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imateinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באחווה. מלך עוזר ומשיח ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם. בעזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומרית הגשם, מזריח השמש ומרית הטל. מחלקל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך. מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה לך חיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו. ישמר ממרום ככתוב על יד נביאך. קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות. לא כל הארץ כבודו כבודו מלא עולם. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו ממקומך. מלכנו תפיח ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור.
דור ודור.
לדור ודור.
לדור ודור.
לדור ודור נגיד גדלך. לדור ודור.
לדור ודור.
לדור ודור.
לדור ודור.
לדור ודור נגיד גדלך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושיחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לא ימוש לעולם ועד. לדור ודור.
דור ודור.
לדור ודור.
לדור ודור.
לדור ודור נגיד גדלך. לדור ודור.
לדור ודור.
לדור ודור.
Tovado.
Ladovado nagid God lecha, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Thank you, Stephen. That was lovely. Thank you to Hepzibah as well. Thank you to everyone who's agreeing to sing. It takes a bit of bravery, but it's very, very nice to hear a few other voices. So thank you. Can I have another volunteer to read the passage at the foot of 142? Let's see if we can get through everyone. Give everyone something to read in this service. Anybody else hasn't had to go yet? Yeah, Janet? Unmute yourself and read it.
You inspired our ancestors to hallow this day for your service. When upon its coming we pause to contemplate our life, we learn anew that we do not live by bread alone, but also by the spiritual nourishment we receive when we open ourselves to your influence. We thank you for the Sabbath day and for the opportunity it offers to enhance the quality of our lives. We thank you for its joy and for its peace. May our worship help us to take into our hearts its message of holiness and consecrate all our days by devotion to what is true, beautiful, and good.
Thank you, Janet. ישמחו, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת, בקוראי עונג, בקוראי עונג. מקדשי שבי, כולם, יספרו, יתענגו מטובך. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת, בקוראי עונג, בקוראי עונג. בחשבי רצית בו, וקידשתו. בחשבי, בחמדת ימים, אותו קראת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת, בקוראי עונג, בקוראי עונג. זכר למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצנה במנוחתנו. קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך. סבנו מטובך, ושמחנו בישועתך. ותהל ליבנו, לעבדך באמת. וחנכילנו, אדוני אלוהינו, באחווה וברצון שבת קודשך. וינוחו בה כל ישראל, מקדשי שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדשך שבת. 144. נושא אדוני לכנו בעמך ישראל, ותפילתם בחרבה תקבל, ותחיל רצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך. ברוך אתה אדוני, שאותך לבדך בירא נבות. מודים אנחנו לך, מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו, אלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו, מגן ישענו, תחו לטובתו, נודה לך נוספה תהילתך על חיינו המסורים בידך. מודים אנחנו לך, מודים מודים אנחנו לך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל תפלותיך וטובותיך שבכל עת ערב עוקב אחריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך ולך נאה לחדות. שלום טובה וברכה, חן וכסף רחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך, אחינו אבינו כולנו כאחד, באור פניך כי באור פניך נתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו. שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך, תורת חיים ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך, וטוב וטוב בניך לברך את עמך ישראל, את כל העמים כל הולת כל שעה בשלומך. שים שלום טובה וברכה, אין בחסד רחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך. ברוך אתה אדוני עושך shalom. Now we'll have a bit of time for silent prayer. Think our own thoughts. יהיו לרצון עם רפי והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי מנוע לי, אדוני צורי בגואלי. So we've reached the end of the Amidah, and we'll turn to our Torah service now. Daniel, by the way, I don't know if you're there, and I wonder if you have your shofar around and you'd like to play it at some point this service. You might have to unmute yourself to tell me that, or message. Perhaps he's not there. But I am here.
I'm here, and I can get my shofar by all means. Sorry.
Okay. So if you go and get it, and then
I will.
At some point when you've when you've got it, we will hear it.
Okay, I'll have it in about 2 minutes. Bear with me. Bear with.
Okay. Well, we'll just move on, and we'll do it at a slightly later point. That's absolutely fine.
And put some plugs on when you start your video. Thank you.
I'd just like to tell you, I am in fact wearing trousers. and I'm not going to discuss whether I'm wearing pants.
That's all of us thinking about what Daniel's wearing, which we weren't before, but now
I thought I'd just slip that in.
Minds. Thanks. I thought we'd do the other Torah service, which we do occasionally, but it's on page 490. So for a change, we're going to go to 490. 490. I will ask somebody to read the passage at the top of 490, which is all about the sort of original readings of Torah in market squares, where everyone would assemble to hear it. And they didn't have Chumashim, didn't have books, they were just listening. Okay, who would like to read this passage? Rosemary? Yeah, Rosemary's going to do it? Oh, sorry, Lindsay. I'll come to you next.
Don't worry.
Rosemary?
Yeah. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities, to hear and learn, to revere the Eternal One, your God, and observe faithfully all the precepts of this Torah. And let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere the Eternal One, your God.
והארננו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחל לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך. And we will imagine we're taking the Torah out from the ark, and I'll sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadlul Adonai Iti Unama Shemo Yagda L'cha Adonai Hagdula V'Hagvura V'Hatiferet V'Hanetza V'Hahod V'Hanetza V'Hahod Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz L'cha Adonai hamamlacha v'hamidnaseh l'chol And maybe we'll ask Daniel to blow the shofar now, as he's standing in front of what looks like a bit like an ark. I think it's actually a door, but it has a certain ark vibes to it. So this is to wake us up, to remind us it's the month of Elul, Rosh Hashanah is around the corner. In fact, we'll say a bit more later, but Slichot is this evening. That's always a week before Rosh Hashanah, so we'll be gathering at 8 p.m. for a beautiful Slichot service. So we'll hear that again this evening, but for another chance, Daniel's going to blow it for us now. Thank you, Daniel. Your computer mic struggles a bit with it because it's sort of it's loud, so it cuts out. But we enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you for doing that for us. It's really appreciated.
I never using it in a service, I must admit. I bought it because I thought that's a thing of beauty and joy, and I will own it. And yes, so in these COVID times, it's interesting to have it and to use it.
Well, I'm glad that you got it, and I'm glad that you can play it for us. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it. There are no coincidences.
There was a desire, a divine will that you should buy it. Clearly, let's continue with our Torah service, and we are in the latter stages of the book of Devarim, of Deuteronomy. You can feel the end in sight, but Moses is still speaking. He's giving a very, very long speech. It's a very kind of long and arduous AGM he's heading here at the edge of the land of Israel. I'll be reading from chapter 30. This is Parashat Nitzavim. It's actually Nitzavim Vayelech as a joint double parasha. I'll be reading it in Nitzavim. And it's Deuteronomy 30. In a minute, Kevin will put it on the screen, so don't worry. But I'm going to ask for a volunteer to do the Torah blessings. Lindsay, do you want to do these? As you got picked to person?
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you very much. So, actually, what I might do is, if someone's got the Chumash in front of them, because it'll be easier, I might ask them to read the translation for verses 1 to 10, first of all, and then I'll do the Hebrew, and then you read the rest of the English, and then I'll do the Hebrew. So perhaps someone else will who's got the Chumash in front of them, because I think it'll be easier to do it from the Chumash, will do that. Okay? So Janet's going to do that. Janet's going to read the translation. So Lindsay will do the blessings, and then Janet will read the translations of verses 1 to 10, and I'll do the Hebrew. Got that? Elaborate. Okay. Take it away, Lindsay.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch
Adonai HaMevorach le'olam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Janet.
When all these things befall you, the blessing and the curse that I have set before you, and you take them to heart amidst the various nations to which the Lord your God has banished you, and you return to the Lord your God, and you and your children heed his command with all your heart and soul, just as I enjoin upon you this day, then the Lord your God will restore your fortunes and take you back in love. He will bring you together again from all the peoples where the Lord your God has scattered you, even if your outcasts are at the ends of the world. From there the Lord your God will gather you. From there he will fetch you. And the Lord your God will bring you to the land that your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. And he will make you more prosperous and more numerous than your fathers. Then the Lord your God will open up your heart and the hearts of your offspring to love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, in order that you may live. The Lord your God will inflict all those curses upon the enemies and foes who persecuted you. You, however, will again heed the Lord and obey all his commandments that I enjoin upon you this day. And the Lord your God will grant you abounding prosperity in all your undertakings, in the issue of your womb, the offspring of your cattle, and the produce of your soil. For the Lord will again delight in your well-being as he did in that of your fathers, since you will be heeding the Lord your God and keeping his commandments and laws that are recorded in this book of the teaching, once you return to the Lord your God with all your heart and soul.
Thank you. And I'll read the Hebrew now. If you want to make it just Hebrew only for a minute, Kevin, it might be easier to follow, possibly. Yeah. Oh no, you were nearly there. You just click on the Aleph. Click on the Aleph. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Just click on that. Oh, yes. There we are. So it's the start of the chapter. V'chaya. A little bit higher. There we are. V'chaya. You had it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We've lost it now. Sorry. I'm just going to read it because it's got a bit confusing. There. Yes. You've gone too far back now. Basically, you've gone too far back. Never mind. I'm just going to read it. והיה כי יבואו אליך כל הדברים האלה, הברכה והקללה אשר נתתי לפניך, והשיבות אל לבביך בכל הגויים אשר הדיחך אדוני אלוהיך שמה. ושבת עד אדוני אלוהיך, ושמעת בקולו, ככל אשר אנוכי מצווך היום, אתה ובניך, בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך. ושב אדוני אלוהיך את שבותך וריחמך, ושב וקיבצך מכל העמים אשר הפיצך אדוני אלוהיך שמה. ואם יהיה נידחך בקצה השמיים, משם יקבצך אדוני אלוהיך, ומשם יקהך. והביאך אדוני אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר יורשו אבותיך וירשתה, והיטיבך והיברך מאבותיך. ומל אדוני אלוהיך את לבבך ואת לבב זרעך לאחווה את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך למען חייך. ונתן אדוני אלוהיך את כל העלות האלה על אויביך ועל שונאיך אשר רדפוך. ואתה תשוב ושמעת בקול אדוני, ועשית את כל מצוותיו אשר אנוכי מצווך היום. והותיך אדוני אלוהיך בכל מעשה ידיך, בפרי בטנך ובפרי בחמתך, ובפרי אדמתך לטובה. כי ישוב אדוני לסוס עליך לטוב, כאשר שש על אבותיך, כי תשמע בקול אדוני אלוהיך, לשמוע מצוותיו וחוקותיו, הכתובה בספר התורה הזה, כי תשוב אל אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך. And there are lots of words like tashuv and yashuv, which is the same root as teshuvah, which we translate as repentance and really means returning. And that's because this parasha is always read on the just before Rosh Hashanah. So, Janet, if you want to read from chapter 11 to the end of the verse 11 to the end of the chapter in English.
Surely this instruction, which I enjoin upon you this day, is not too baffling for you, nor is it beyond reach. It is not in the heavens that you should say, who among us can go up to the heavens and get it for us and impart it to us that we may observe it? Neither is it beyond the sea that you should say, who among us can cross to the other side of the sea and get it for us and impart it to us that we may observe it? No, the thing is very close to you, in your mouth and in your heart, to observe it. See, I set before you this day life and prosperity, death and adversity. For I command you this day to love the Lord your God, to walk in his ways and to keep his commandments, his laws and his rules, that you may thrive and increase, and that the Lord your God may bless you in the land that you are about to enter and possess. But if your heart turns away and you give no heed, and are lured into the worship and service of other gods, I declare to you this day that you shall certainly perish. You shall not long endure on the soil that you are crossing the Jordan to enter and possess. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day. I have put before you life and death, blessing and curse. Choose life if you and your offspring would live, by loving the Lord your God, heeding his commands and holding fast to him. For thereby you shall have life and shall long endure upon the soil that the Lord your God swore to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give to them.
Thank you, Janet. Back to verse 11. כי המצווה הזאת אשר אנוכי מצווך היום לא נפלאת היא ממך ולא רחוקה היא, לא בשמיים היא לאמור. מי יעלה לנו השמיימה ויקחך לנו, וישמיענו אתה ונעשנה, ולא מעבר לים היא לאמור. מי יעבר לנו אל עבר הים ויקחך לנו, וישמיענו אתה ונעשנה, כי קרוב עליך הדבר מאוד, בפיך ובלבבך לעשותו. ראה, נתתי לפניך היום את החיים ואת הטוב, ואת המוות ואת הרע, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום, לחבר את אדוני אלוהיך, ללכת בדרכיו, ולשמור מצוותיו, וחוקותיו, ומשפטיו. והיית רבית וברכך אדוני אלוהיך בארץ אשר אתה ושמה לרשתה. ואם יפנה לבבך ולא תשמע,
נזכת והשתחווית לאלוהים אחרים ועבדתם? הגדתי לכם היום כי אבוד תעבדון, לא תאריכון ימים על האדמה. אשר אתה עובד את הידן לבוא שמה לרשתה. העידותי לכם היום את השמיים ואת הארץ, החיים והמוות, נתתי לפניך הברכה והקללה, ובחרת בחיים, למען תהיה אתה וזרעך. לחווה את אדוני אלוהיך, לשמוע בקולו ולדבקה בו. כי הוא חייך ואורך ימיך, לשבת על האדמה אשר נשבע אדוני לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב, לתת להם. Janet.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you to both of you, Lindsay and Janet. I chose to read that today rather than Lanik. I just think that's such beautiful poetry. It's one of my favourite passages, so I wanted to be able to read it. We are reading the Haftarah from Jeremiah, and I can see that Kevin is in the process of finding it.
Yeah, I had it there, and I just had a bit of it just went. So here we are. So I'm going to try and get to verses. Actually, I'm reading from chapter 31, verses 26 to 34. It's in the JPS Tanakh in the middle of page 838. I will try to find it here. If it takes me a long time, then it looks like you're going to have to follow it. I just don't know how to do the shortcuts here. I'm sure
why don't you just read it and I'll find it in a minute.
And you'll share the screen. How about
so just on screen. So it's Jeremiah what? 35, do you say?
Oh, let's just so I just need to look up again. Here we go. It's Jeremiah chapter 31, verses 26 to 35.
Okay. Jeremiah 31. Okay, I'll find it now.
You'll find it quicker.
I'll find it.
I will. My screen started to jump for something. I had my Sidor on the kind of scroll down key, which I didn't realise. That's why it was going a little bit funny. Are you gonna?
Yeah, I'm gonna get there. Just start it, and I'll
yeah, I'll do the blessings. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'atzei v'divreihem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai abacher b'torah u'b'moshe avdo u'b'Yisrael amo in ha'emet v'tzedek. This reading actually follows nicely from the Torah reading of like the AGM of what's happening to Israel. This is some of Jeremiah's prophecies and the covenant he's made with God. It's really, really nice reading. So I don't know whether you're exactly there. So I'm starting from 26. Yeah, here we are. Okay, we're on screen, but I'm reading it from my Chumash. At this I awoke and looked about, and my sleep had been pleasant to me. See, a time is coming, declares the Lord, when I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with seed of men and seed of cattle. And just as I was watchful over them, to uproot and to pull down, to overthrow and to destroy, and to bring disaster, so I will be watchful over them, to build and to plant, declares the Lord. In those days they will no longer say, parents have eaten sour grape and children's teeth are blunted, but everyone shall die for his own sins. Whosoever eats sour grapes, his teeth shall be blunted. See, a time is coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. It will not be like the covenant I made with their fathers when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, a covenant which they broke, though I espouse them, declares the Lord. But such is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel after these days, declares the Lord. I will put my teaching into their inmost being and inscribe it upon their hearts. Then I will be their God, and they shall be my people. No longer will they need to teach one another and to say to one another, heed the Lord, for all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall heed me, declares the Lord. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Sur kol haolamim, Sadiq b'chol hadarot, Ahal hanama'an, ha'omer va'oseh, Hamdaber Imkayim, Shechol Davarav, Emet v'tzedek. Al HaTorah, Val HaVadah, Vanviim Val Yom HaShabbat Hazeh, Shana Talanu, Adonai Eloheinu, L'Tushal Nikah, L'Kavod U'Tifaret, Al HaKol, Adonai Eloheinu, Anachnu Modim Lach. Mvachim ota yitbarach shimcha b'fi kol hai tamid yalam va'ed baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen. Shakoya, Kevin. Thank you very much. Just to add that that's that's the last Haftarah of consolation. After Tish B'Av, we have 7 weeks of Haftarah of consolation. It makes this connection, this bridge between Tish B'Av and Rosh Hashanah. And the idea is that the covenant was kind of broken at Tish B'Av, and we're kind of gradually rebuilding it, we hope, in the lead up to Rosh Hashanah. And the language of our Torah reading was all about rebuilding the covenant. Okay, so we are on page 493. And we've got the prayers for the country and the community. So perhaps some can have volunteers to read that. Most people have read. I don't think Pat maybe has read. Don't think Joshua and Teresa, who I can't see, have read. So if any of you want to read, I don't mind. Anyone can read, basically. Stephen. Go for it. Unmute yourself.
Eternal God, whose dominion embraces the universe, we ask your blessing for our Sovereign Lady Queen Elizabeth and all the royal family, for those who govern our country and all who influence the quality of its national life. Make them conscious of their responsibility and teach them to exercise it in accordance with your will. May we all help to fashion in this country a society that excels in freedom and justice, tolerance and compassion, so that it may be a force for righteousness and peace in the life of humanity.
Thank you very much. Teresa, I'm not sure if your comment was saying that you'd like to read when you said thank you to everyone. You can unmute if you'd like to do that, but give a second.
No, Teresa was saying thank you to me. I just gave
I see.
a welcome.
I see. Okay, so somebody read the prayer for the community, and maybe who wants to do that? Stephen?
May the one who blessed our ancestors bless all our brothers and sisters of the house of Israel who enter synagogues to pray and to give aid to those in need. May the Holy One to whom all praise is due hear their prayers and help them to fulfill their aspirations for good.
And at this point, I'd like to think of those who we know who are in need of healing. So if anyone's got any names they'd like to mention, please do so now. Unmute yourself and do so now.
My cousin Nikki and her husband Mel.
Anybody else? Okay, well, both Nikki ML and anyone that we don't know who is ill and need of healing are saying, Mi shebeirach avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu yivarek v'yirapeh et hacholim Ana rafala El narafanala El narafala El narafanala. And finally, someone to read the prayer for Israel in the middle of page 494. Who's offering to do that? Alan, I think.
Eternal God, our rock and redeemer, grant blessing to the state of Israel, created to fulfill an age-old dream and to be a haven for the oppressed. Inspire its leaders and citizens with faithfulness to the aims of its founders, to develop the land for the benefit of all its inhabitants, and to implement the prophetic ideals of liberty and justice. May they live in harmony with one another and in peace with their neighbors, and cause to come true once more the ancient vision that out of Zion shall go forth Torah and the word of God from Jerusalem.
Thank you very much, Alan. Ya hallelujah Shem Adonai ki niskav shemo levado הודו על ארץ ושמיים וירם קרן לעמו תהילה לכל חסידיו לבני ישראל עם קרבו הללויה הללויה. We just turned to page 496 to end the Torah service, top of 496. Joshua, do you want to read this? I can't see you. Presuming you're still there. Do you want to read that on mute?
This happened before. I managed to get back into it. I can
see if Joshua wants to do that, and if not more, I'm gonna move on. Okay, Hepzibah, why don't you do it? 496.
Okay. This is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel in the time to come, says the Eternal One. I will put my teaching within them and engrave it on their hearts. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. No longer shall anyone need to teach a friend or a neighbor to know me, for they shall know me, young and old alike.
Adonai Eleha V'nashuva Chadesh Yameinu K'kedem Chadesh Yameinu K'kedem. Okay, so I want to have something a bit more like a discussion rather than a pure sermon, but I'm going to sort of start it off, and then hopefully we'll be able to have a bit of a discussion about it, which hopefully will be quite nice. So it is not too confusing. It is not far from us. It is not in the heavens or across the sea that someone has to go and get it for us to look at it at a distance. No, the thing is very close to us. It's literally in our mouths and our hearts to do it. This passage that we read, or a paraphrase of it, is extremely beautiful, and it's one of the most celebrated in the whole Torah. But what does it mean? What is the it? The Hebrew says, ha-mitzvah hazot, this commandment, but which one? The preceding verse refers to Basefer HaTorah Hazeh, this Sefer Torah. Remember that, as I've said before, the book of Deuteronomy, Devarim, is written near the end of the process of canonization of the Torah in the reign of King Josiah. Under his kingship, the book of Deuteronomy is supposedly found in the temple, but it's really written by his scribes to justify and promote the ways of practices of its time. So the book of Deuteronomy is quite concerned with talking about Torah, because it's kind of inventing the concept of Torah as a single discrete text. Torah can mean both a particular teaching or a whole body of teaching and wisdom. I think Torah here is being used quite expansively. In the following section, the demands outlined, the demands of us, are not about minutiae, but rather the overall picture: to love God, to walk in God's ways and keep God's commandments in order to thrive and increase. This is consistent with later understandings of the word Torah. It has come to refer not just to the fixed, the written Torah that we have in our books and our Chumashim, but also to the oral Torah, the body of laws, interpretations and writings that continues to this day. Arguably, then, whenever Jews come together to discuss a tradition, that too is Torah. And there's a quirk of language in our passage. In our Hebrew, unlike modern English, has singular and plural forms of you. Lecha and lach are the singular forms, lachem and lachen are the plurals. Here, Moses is talking to the entire Israelite people, and so you'd expect the text to use the plural forms, but it doesn't. It consistently uses lecha, singular. Every single Israelite, every individual person is addressed directly as an individual. We all are. The Torah, once given, is no longer the exclusive property of the Holy One of Israel. In a famous Talmudic story, some rabbis are in dispute. This is pretty much the whole Talmud. And Rabbi Eliezer calls forth miracles to support his position. First, he said, "If I am right, a tree should uproot itself and move." And it does. Then he says that if he's right, the stream should flow backwards. And it does. And then finally he says, if I'm right, a divine voice should call out. And it does. And the voice says, why are you arguing? Rabbi Eliezer is always right. But despite this, his colleagues do not listen. Lo bashamayim he, they say, quoting our parashah, it is not in heaven. They say that since the Torah was given, we do not rely on divine voices, but instead follow the majority, quoting another line from the Torah itself. It's pretty audacious stuff. And this, I think, is the theme of the passage, that the Torah belongs not to God, not to rabbis, but to all of us, personally. We don't need an intermediary, someone to bring it to us from far away. No, it's right here. It's not even in front of our noses, it's internal. It says it's literally inside us, in our mouth, on the tip of our tongues. And if we understand Torah, along the lines of our parashah, to mean the whole of our ways and practices, then the same is true of Judaism in general. Judaism isn't a fixed thing that we either fully accept upon ourselves or wholly leave to other people. It's something which we are all constantly inventing and reinventing for ourselves. It's a hard lesson to learn. There's always someone around to tell you that you're doing Judaism wrong. Official Orthodox Judaism, especially in Britain, consistently presents itself as the sole way to do Judaism properly. And many non-Orthodox and secular Jews continue to treat Orthodoxy as the authentic shul they don't go to. But liberal and reformed Judaism can have its own orthodoxies too, sometimes. Customs with a fairly recent basis that are presented as the only proper way of doing things. As a musician, I've often experienced this with relation to melodies. The most common request I receive is for the traditional tune, to which I can only respond, which one? There are always so many. There are many recent Jewish movements that are comprised of Jews remaking Judaism for themselves in their own terms. Jewish renewal. That's a bit older now. It's probably about 30 years old now, I guess. Kehenet, the training of Jewish priestesses. Jewish witchcraft, yes, that is a thing. a new wave of Jewish socialists, Jewish communal farming. This is also a kind of new wave, and many more. This is most powerful done in communities with other like-minded Jews, but can also be individual by being in dialogue with the Torah that is in our hearts and our mouths. So we all have the right to experiment, to play, to be creative with our Judaism, to change rituals and to invent new ones to meet our needs and the needs of our time. We do it in this community, and I think in the last few years, Mosaic Liberals really experimented with our services. We had lots of different leaders trying a number of different things and finding out that there is more ways to do Jewish than we might have previously imagined. I hope that this will continue, that we can see ourselves as a kind of laboratory of Judaism, trying out new ideas and creating new Jewish possibilities. I think that's really what I hope we can be about. I'd like to now have a discussion about this, really, and I'd just like to ask people when you might have felt able to sort of take ownership of Judaism and do things in your way, and maybe that was slightly different to that of your family or that of other Jews, and how that's gone, and if that's sort of scary. Just kind of, I'd be interested to hear any thoughts. So maybe we can, I don't know, unmute everybody or unmute one at a time, whichever. But just
put your hand if you feel that you can add to this very interesting discussion. Just you put your hand up. I've certainly got some comments, but be good to go around the room. If anyone. Do we have Lindsay who can go first?
I felt it very strongly when I attended the biennial of liberal Judaism many, many years ago. And it sort of brought it home to me that there are many ways of doing Judaism. It wasn't a question of accepting United Synagogue or doing nothing, which is basically what I had been, more or less. And also got me more involved in the community. But I cannot recommend the biennial enough to really enforce what we are and how we live our lives.
Brilliant.
Funny enough, I was going to say something very similar to Lindsay, so I'm not just like following her footsteps, but my journey has been similar. I came from a traditional household when my brother turned up to be a complete frummer and I went the other way. I totally lapsed, but I always felt there was something missing, having been as I say, a totally lapsed Jew. And it's through an ex of mine who wanted to convert, and basically the only reason why she converted is so we can get married under the hood to please my parents. But that actually didn't, as people knew, that didn't work out the marriage or the potential marriage. But what did work out for me, I got involved in the liberal community because that was the only choice we had to fulfill our dreams. I found it difficult at first. I found, and please no ladies here take offence, seeing women wearing couple and talit, very difficult to get my head round. And also, I have to say, seeing non-Jewish people at services regularly, I found that difficult. And in time, I've embraced diversity, the way that we're inclusive, and men and women are equal, which I really love now. And I love it when it doesn't matter who's here, where they come from. I love it when we actually have non-Jewish people involved in our services, because that's including them. And I'm just really, and also a sense of community, and the fact that I've been able to find leadership, which has given me a lot of confidence for doing other things. And it's all down to this. And I always say, what you get out of something, you need to put in, and that's what inspires me in what I do for the community. So that's my my piece. And okay, Hannah. Here we go. If you want to unmute yourself and try and keep your picture.
You're still muted. Don't worry about the picture. Well, even if we hear you, it's fine.
Maybe whilst we're waiting.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can't see you, but that doesn't matter.
I know, I can't seem to do both.
That's fine.
I just wanted to say that, like you, Kevin, I was brought up Orthodox, and it was soon borne in on me that girls were not as important as boys, because almost every Shabbat there was a boy being bar mitzvah, and he trained and he'd learned to sing and read and all the rest of it. And whereas at school, it was very important to do well and to do the best you could, I just felt at Cheder I was just taking up space and not doing anything useful. Fortunately, a friend took me to Harrow Member Progressive Synagogue for the High Holy Days for several years before I made up my mind what to do. Because between growing up and joining the community, I knew I was Jewish and I cared about being Jewish, but I couldn't find a synagogue that was something I could do sincerely. But when I went to Harrow and Wembley and listened to Charles speaking and watched the people, you know, the men and women equally having mitzvah, I was very impressed and very touched. And after my mother died, I decided to join the synagogue, which was nearly 30 years ago now. I can't believe it. But I realized that I had every opportunity to do everything that I could for the community and for myself. It was up to me to do it, and I would get so much help. And when I prepared to do my adult bat mitzvah, and I will never forget, the synagogue was full and the choir was in full voice, and Charles had the most beautiful sermon, and I had learned my portion, and I just so much felt I belonged. This was the kind of Judaism I felt true with and have done ever since. And I'm really glad. I think it was one of the most important things I ever did was to join this synagogue. Thank you.
Thank you. Time for a couple more people. Alan, go for it. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you. My background was entirely different because I was brought up as a child, a liberal Jewish synagogue, and you couldn't get more liberal and more non-orthodox than that. I remember as a child that during a Shabbat morning service, I'm not sure it was called Shabbat, it would just have been a South or Saturday service, the hymns were in English. All the festivals were referred to by their English names. It was New Year, it was Tabernacles, it was Pentecost. I, of course, was not bar mitzvah. They didn't have bar mitzvah then. I was confirmed at the age of 15. And it's over the, golly, how many years is that? Since 70 plus years since then that, of course, liberal synagogue, liberal Judaism, in the strength that it has found, has been able to move towards the traditional prayers and songs and so on, because it's strong enough to have to incorporate those, but still retain its liberal outlook. So Joseph talked about changes. There have been, golly, have there been changes in Shabbat services in my lifetime since I was a child of the LJS.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that's fascinating to hear. It's always lovely to hear people's life stories, as much as anything else. Is there anyone else bursting to come in? So, I mean, I'll just say that I think there's something particular if you've come from Orthodoxy in terms of going to a sort of a slightly freer form of Judaism. But I think there are definitely things to consider with it, even if you grow up liberal as well, that there are kind of things get fixed. And we forget that, you know, liberal Judaism was a particular creation by a particular bunch of people, and then it can be refounded and changed. I used to organise a minyan on Friday nights called Wandering Jews, and we used to go to people's houses, and the idea was always a different house. That was supposed the rule. And we had the rule that your house, your rules. And the idea was that we wouldn't have a fixed form. Each host could do it their way, really. And there's something quite powerful, I think, about bringing Shabbat and bringing ritual into people's houses that maybe they haven't done they don't do that much Jewish stuff on a daily basis, and they found that very powerful, and particularly the ability to innovate. Sometimes it's hard. People would say, I don't know what I want to do. I want someone else to come and do it for me. But if we can kind of have the boldness to do so, and we have the whole body of Jewish textuality in all its forms, and we have the whole of Jewish history to play with. So I think we can be really creative, and I think we have a kind of, oh gosh, a banquet of options, and it's just a question of what we choose and kind of where we build the Judaism that's right for us, and it's an ongoing process. So thank you for sharing. That's really fascinating. So
thank you,
really
Joseph, for introducing this discussion.
Well, I thought if it was something about doing things your own way, it couldn't just be me talking. So I wanted to bring in some other voices.
Okay. I would just say that I found with all it's the contradictions. I used to, a lot of people know me well. I like to question things, and in Orthodoxy I couldn't, or I could, but I would get shouted down because of it. But I just like the idea now that we can make informed choices.
And I think as a community we're in the process of change all the time. I mean, particularly obviously we're in during the pandemic, but with Rabbi Rachel and various service leaders, we're exploring, and that's really healthy, I think. Okay, we'll conclude our service now on page 520 with the Aleinu. 520. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו לחמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, והקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומשוב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובכם מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום בהשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. And can someone just read on page 521 for us, please? Linda, do you want to do it? Yeah? Unmute yourself.
Trusting in you, eternal God, we hope soon to behold the glory of your might, when false gods will vanish from our hearts and idolatry cease forever. Help us to perfect the world by bringing it under your unchallenged rule, when all will invoke your name, relinquish evil, and turn to you alone. May all who dwell on earth come to know that to you every knee must bend and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you, let them humble themselves, and to your glorious name let them give honor. Let all submit to your sovereign rule. May that time come soon and last forever. For ultimate sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory, as it is written, the Eternal One shall reign forever.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ויום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. Life is finite. Like a candle, it burns. It glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty. Then it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. Yet we do not despair, for we know that we are more than a flickering flame. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and light, of death and life. As in our hearts we name our loved ones, we pray that the divine presence will comfort us and all who mourn. And we remember those with the art sites at this time: Esme Cash, mother of Lindsay Cohen. Frances Shorten, sister of Brian Haberfeld. Henry Shummer, father of Claudia Rose and grandfather of Patricia Graves. Are there any other names that anybody here would like to mention for memory? May all of their memories be for a blessing. I'll say the Kaddish on page 524. If anybody wants to unmute and say it, they can do. יתקדל ויקדש שמי רבה, בעולמד יברח ירתי, וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון, וחיי כל בית ישראל. בגלה וזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתפרע וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. יתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה, בריך הוא. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דיאמירן בעולמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו amen. Okay. Any announcements, Kevin?
You cookies. First of all, wish Lindsay long life and only good things. As you remember, Esme, who I remember, I was speaking back to when I first joined. So I do remember a warm welcome Esme gave me, and also to my fiance then. So I was thinking of her with the time of it. And also thank you for Joseph again for a lovely uplifting service. And then actually with a week building up to the High Holy Days, sort of reminding me and all of us of why we're liberal Jews, and I'm going to draw a lot from this, as it is a busy week just preparing in a slightly different way. So thank you again, Joseph, and thank you to everyone in this virtual room who everyone who's been able to has made some contribution to this wonderful service. So thank you all, and I think it's quite good to engage everyone. Moving ahead tonight, hopefully you're aware, but we have our Selichot service. Apologies, it was buried a bit under the Shabbat notices, but it starts 8 p.m. If you'd like to join us for kind of a very lovely spiritual service to get us in the right frame of mind for the High Holy Days, there is a link in the Shabbat notices. You just got to do a bit of digging before you get there.
8 p.m. 8 p.m.
It's 8 p.m. Yeah,
and Felicity is singing with us as well over Zoom, so that'll be nice. So have another voice, beautiful voice.
Lovely.
Okay, so we'll look forward to that. We have now the next Shabbat will be the actual High Holy Days, well, Rosh Hashanah rather. If everyone checks their notices, there's going to be a reminder email sent out. Obviously, it's going to be on Zoom. And I just suggest you check there to get the right link. The Saturday services can be collaborative with Elstree, Stevenage, and South Bucks. And there's hopefully you'll see it. It will start at 10 a.m. There's Neil James is going to lead a kind of a Torah study session, and then 10:30 to 10 to 11, Rachel and Esther are going to do a meditative service, and then the actual service itself starts at 11. And there is a link that is different to your normal Shabbat link, so watch out for that. You will be getting reminders, but if you try to connect through this link, you're going to be stuck on your home staring at a screen. Okay, if anyone's got any questions, then please phone me. That's me done for announcements. Has anyone else got anything they would like to announce or say? Right, Joseph, what are we going to finish up with?
Enkelohenu on page 528. 528. Ein Kelohenu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kamalkeinu. Kamoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adoneinu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atah Hu Eloheinu, Atah Hu Adonenu, Atah Hu Malkeinu, Atahu, Atahu, Atahu Moshienu. Adonai oz le'amor yiten, Adonai yivarech et amor v'shalom. Eternal God, grant strength to your people. Eternal God, bless your people with peace.
Amen.
Amen. And Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
We rushed down for Kiddush. We're overrunning, so can we have...
I'm going. I'm here. I'm here.
Everyone, please unmute. Rosemary.
Just saying, I'm just saying goodbye. I'll have to leave now.
Bye, Rosemary.
Bye.
Bye, bye, Rosemary.
Bye.
Bye.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם, בני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגופן.
Amen.
Amen.
I think I like that.
Yeah, no. I love Chaim. Do you want to say Chaim to everyone? Yeah, my mother-in-law Mabel's been in the background, who's also enjoyed the service. So, has anyone, who's got a cholera? Can I see Alan? Would you like to lead Hamotzi, Alan? Or Janet?
Okay.
Between you, go on, between you, fight over it.
1, 2, 3. Baruch atah Adonai.
Eloheinu melech haolam.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Joseph.
Well done, Joseph, again.
Very nice.
But yeah, it's a
If we
lovely.
done a service like that 40 years ago,
Thank you, Joseph. It was a lovely service.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Nice to see you.
Yeah, Teresa, welcome. Teresa, I just said you're a message.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Could I ask how you heard about us, if you want to share that?
Yes, some time ago last year, I came there with a friend. The one in I say Harrow. No, Harrow. Yeah, I came to have a service with them once, and then because of the COVID, I wasn't even able to come again. So I thought, well, let me join the online service.
Yes.
Very welcome. It's very nice to see
Thank you.
It's good to see a new face, a new face. But mind you, with us, anyone, most people who turn up is going to be young. But...
What were you saying, Janet, before I couldn't actually hear it?
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Okay. See you tonight at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Shabbat shalom.
Again, Joseph.
Wish you long life, Lindsay.
Yes, lots of
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph, for a lovely service, really, very uplifting.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you to Kevin.
Yes, thank you,
Thank
Kevin.
you, Joseph. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Thank you to Joseph.
Thank you, Alison. Bye-bye. Shabbat shalom.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Busy in the week trying to get the music for the High Holy Days. I know there's part recordings, part live singing.
Yeah, we've
bit of
done some
everything.
really nice recordings this week, so we'll be using some of that. Cool. All right, I'll say bye to everyone.
Bye.
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 Thank you so much.
Say hello to your family and your daughters.
He's part of the family.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So we leave it there. Shabbat shalom. Oh, it's just me. Oh well.